In the previous video, I mentioned my new job has a pet-friendly office and I can take my Whippets to work. But I also said Eris is not ready for this step yet as she is still a busy youngster and I won't get any work done with her around. Well, what is she doing in the office then? Well, I'm telling you all about how she got there. Let's do her nails and give her a bath. A bath she desperately needed. One of my colleagues is a scientific consultant and a vet who gives lectures to veterinarians and veterinary students in universities, educating them on our products. A few weeks ago, she approached me with an idea to give a lecture in an upcoming university event on ethical dog breeding, genetic testing before breeding, dog shows, breed standards, etc. and bring a Whippet along, after which I could take that same Whippet to the office to wrap up my workday. My first thought was I could bring Eris as I'm not done socializing her yet anyway, but my second thought was no. 50 vet students meant a lot of uninvited touching for Eris, plus how would she behave in this environment and then in the office? While she is not scared of people, she prefers to not be touched by strangers, unless they are chosen by her based on some weird criteria of hers or are judges in the show ring, where she knows a part of her job is to be touched and examined by a stranger. And later in the video you will see exactly what I mean. My first response was I'll think about it, leaning towards a no. But then I gave it a second thought. What's the worst thing that could happen? Eris has seen everything since a young age, and she will be happy to spend time with me no matter where we go. Plus, it's a great opportunity for both me and Eris, as even though she is no longer a puppy, I still like to expose her to new environments. On top of that, I'm extremely passionate about the topics of the lecture, and I believe more awareness should be spread on them to educate people on breed preservation and ethical breeding. Let's do it, I said the day after. Eris is the type of Whippet who looks bored at a new place where nothing fun is going on. What is fun, you ask? Allowing her to do what she wants and go where she likes at all times. Other dogs to play with, preferably Whippets, or running. Anything else that doesn't include the mentioned fun is boring and she'd rather go home, or there where the fun is. The good news is this negative mood is not forever, she simply needs 30 minutes to settle and come to peace with the lack of fun. We arrived in the morning, and while we were waiting for the lecture to start, a lot of students with good intentions wanted to pet her. Most of them were polite enough to ask if they can, to which I always respond, sure, if Eris allows it. She doesn't in most cases, she respectfully declines the approaching hand by backing off or ignoring it. However, I'd rather let them try, because every once in a while she comes across a stranger she actually likes, so I give her the freedom to make a choice. I also had an intense battle with a tick that gave me a heart attack while attempting to crawl deep in her ear, but eventually failed and was imprisoned in this plastic bag and gifted to the students for experiments. Meanwhile, our young lady finally settled and began to enjoy her time in this unusual place. Then it was our time to shine. I told the students a little bit about myself and how I got involved with dogs. Then we discussed the purpose of ethical breeding, what it means, and what it takes to be an ethical breeder. How to recognize one and respectively a backyard breeder or a puppy mill, and why it's so important to stay away from them and turn to an ethical breeder if they want to purchase a dog. And also how much it costs to work towards breed preservation in terms of time, money, and effort. All topics we'll discuss here as well in the future. Meanwhile, Eris was the best. We also talked about dog shows, dog breeds and standards, and what fit for purpose means. The final topic was Whippets. None of the students had seen a Whippet prior to our visit, and I felt honored to introduce them to these special aliens, while heavily highlighting the breed is not for everyone. Everyone involved enjoyed it, we asked each other questions, and the feedback was so positive we are invited to do the same next year. Then off to the office we went, and Eris sent all my negative expectations to the trash where they belong. She was absolutely fantastic, quiet and polite, the perfect office dog. She got some nice treats, explored the office, and was impressed by this large, loud printer, and not so impressed by my male colleagues at first, though she warmed up to them by the end of the working day. We had some cuddles after I disappeared in the bathroom for 2 minutes, which was shocking to this Velcro dog. I also brought her some toys and she had the time of her life. She even got to do some of my tasks, like sitting at the desk. And then her battery drained. No wonder, considering this was a long day with so many unfamiliar people, sights and smells. Everyone loved her and how polite she was, so now, of course, I have to take her with me more often. Needless to say, I made a huge mistake and mispredicted her behavior, because guys, she is the best child no matter where we go. Eris had a busy week, not only because of this demanding workday, but also because we had 2 shows that following weekend. Let's continue washing her so I can tell you a bit about them. If you've been around long enough, you might remember last year I explained how for more than 2 years our country was out of FCI. Great news guys, we are back. Our shows are official once more, our puppies can have recognized pedigrees, we're back on track. And with that we had our 2 very first official FCI international shows. This is also the first time Eris has 2 shows back to back, and I wondered if this would be too exhausting for her or would have a positive effect. And here you can see the expression of a Whippet that prefers to be dirty. The shows were held outdoors and we brought our trusty tent. Immediately, Eris showed us how much she has matured since last year. She finally learned to take breaks and rest in her crate instead of constantly demanding to meet every single dog. What a physical and mental relief for everyone. She is now also more selective about which dogs are worthy of her attention, the top picks being Sighthounds, of course. At some point, the roles were switched. She took our chairs, but we stole her crate. As long as she's quiet, she can sit wherever she wants. I also got to supervise this one-of-a-kind Iggy with the most outgoing and sassy temperament I've ever seen in a dog of this breed. She could easily put a lion in his place. That day, Eris was best of breed and best in group. Despite the heat, she was simply fantastic, and here you can see with your own eyes what I said earlier. Some of the few strangers that are allowed to touch her while she stands like a statue are judges in the ring. A Whippet that understands the assignment perfectly. On our way home, she was very tired, and I wasn't sure if the next day she would have the same enthusiasm for the second show, and trust me, she knows exactly where we'll be going. 6 a.m. the morning after, here she is, as fresh as a cucumber and as excited as a child. In the car, she paused her excitement and caught up with her sleep schedule, and at the show, she was even calmer than she was the previous day. She knew what to expect from the environment and saved her energy. Mr. Judge loved her and shockingly he received some love back. You would not believe how few strangers are deserving of her tail wags. Maybe 1 out of 20. She is also an example of a Whippet that honestly enjoys every bit of being in the show ring. If any of you think dog shows are abusive, just look at Eris, and don't forget a Whippet won't do anything against their will, or anything that doesn't have value according to them. After that, it was time to get back to waiting and Eris had to show the beautiful faces of a true lady. Unlike the day before, this time it was pouring rain in the middle of the day. Fortunately, we had our tent and our little lady got her cuddles, so nobody cared about a bit of rain. She repeated the results from the day before and in addition she added 1 more junior champion title to her list. Forgot to mention, both days she was also pre-selected for Best in Show Junior, which in short means she was picked from the huge number of competitors for the final cut. And here you can see her in her usual confident self. I'm so proud of how she grew and the way her character developed. That day was special for a different reason though. We celebrated exactly 1 year since we picked her up. A whole year of Eris being a part of our Whippet pack, and a whole year of fun, joy, love, and living with a personal bandage who wants an hourly report on my whereabouts. Needless to say, she passed out in the car. No wonder, after she gave her all during this busy week. So, have a lovely weekend and a fantastic week afterwards, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye bye!